Hello everyone and welcome to the second round of the UCI Mountain Bike Enduro World Cup here from the beautiful Blue Derby Trail Network in Derby, Tasmania. My name's Rick McLaughlin. Joining me again today for the course preview, Josh Carlson. Josh, tough day yesterday. I was in the house for 5 to 6 hours, did a lot of emails, wrote a lot of scripts for the Eurosport show. How was your day?
Pleasant. It was brutal. It was definitely one of the most brutal days we've had on the bike in a few seasons now. The boys had a couple of wet ones last season, the year before, and pre-COVID. But man, 6 hours in the rain around here yesterday. It was about 9 degrees, rain from 9 a.m. pretty much all the way until 4 p.m. that afternoon, and it was pretty savage. I mean, kudos to those out there who kept their morale high and were positive, but I was not one of those people.
Yeah, the racers get one chance to see the course before they have to race it. Yesterday, we were treated to some of the very, very worst weather that Tasmania could throw at us. But Josh, talk us around this one. 44 kilometers in length.
44 k's in length. There's no shuttles here this weekend. So last weekend we were treated to 2 shuttles to the top of the hill. Derby's offered a massive pedaling day, which means we pedal to the top of every stage. So we've got about 5 pretty decent liaisons. We're up the road. And once we get to the road shuttle drop-off point, we have about a 35-minute single-track technical liaison to get to the start of stage 1 and the start of stage 6. So there's a lot of single-track climbing around here, a lot of meandering around the entire network that Blue Derby has to offer, which is a great way to see the area, great display of what this trail network offers. It's just a long day when it's pouring rain at 10 degrees.
So blue skies today. Hopefully we will get better weather for racing tomorrow. Let's talk about the stages then individually. First one, Roxanne, 3 kilometers long, 235 vertical meters of descending, and I was lucky enough, I did get out on the course the day before it rained. Lucky. Lots of rocks, lots of rolling, really fast. Just a beautiful bit of trail, Roxanne.
Beautiful bit of trail. Starts off with a big technical rocky slab area which has a couple of funky lines in it which aren't going to make your race, but they'll definitely break it. The rocks here are so embedded in the dirt, so Roxanne is a great example of this. We've got a bunch of really natural rock features, heaps of corners, heaps of areas where you just got to pump and maintain speed. And then as we get lower down back towards the black stump area, there's a huge pedal. Like it's a minute, maybe closer to 2 minutes worth of pedaling at the bottom, and then it feeds it to another bunch of pedaling after that again. So a bit common theme here, we've got real technical, rocky, slabby sections of trail followed by long pedals. So that's going to be a very physical way to start our day.
Second stage then, Dam Busters, 2.4k, drop 190 meters. We are seeing less descending here compared to the gradients on offer in Medina, but as you say, Dam Busters, plenty of time to be had on the pedals.
Plenty of time to be had on the pedals. And what's surprising about Dam Busters, there's a lot of really big berms. So that's really going to come down to corner speed. It's going to be pedaling. Pedaling is going to be the theme here. We all knew that. We all knew to expect that, but there's a lot of corners back to back and trying to brake as minimal as possible, limit your mistakes, and carry as much speed as possible the whole way down that trail. It doesn't drop that much in vertical, but there is a lot to be made and a lot of speed to gain from being smooth, fast, and a good cornerer.
The next one then, stage 3, World Trail Trouty. This was the men's DH in finale of what Derby had to offer.
Yeah,
a really
sure.
iconic stage. The clouds have just cleared. You can see the rock slab just behind us.
Yep.
Trouty, famous of course for a massive rock shaped like a fish at the end of it. Famous even more so given that the locals for the first race here in 17 jerry-rigged telegraph pole looked like a cigarette out of the fish's mouth, but no less challenging this year.
No less challenging. The speeds are just as high. If anything, the speeds are going to be a little bit higher. So that stage, we're going to see times, they're going to be super tight. Now, Trouty's got the same good vibes and the good high speeds it's always had. The big doubles at the top and the blind jumps over the rocks. But down the bottom, it's eroded quite a lot. There's a lot more rocks exposed. There's a lot more holes to grab your wheels and tires, and you know, I think we're going to see a lot of riders just send it down that one. We're going to come into the technical zone after that, so you've got a little bit of leeway if something goes wrong. But that stage is just going to be all guts, all glory. They're going to send it home there for sure.
One of the things I find unusual about Trouty actually is that rock slab and the big exposed bits of rock, because you've been in the trees all day.
Yeah.
And you've got that natural sort of like judge of what speed you're doing, and all of a sudden they're gone. You go very fast.
And the grip on the rock.
They do grip around here as well.
There's just like, it's like a sandpaper granite. And it really takes a little bit of time to get used to how grippy those rocks are. And there's a couple of new lines up there that have opened up this year that'll change that track a little bit. But yeah, the rock slab is a strange scenario. There's more rock here than dirt, which is pretty wild.
So for the fourth stage then, they've followed up a classic in Trouty with another classic in Detonate. It won Trail of the Year previous years. I don't think you're blowing any smoke to say it's iconic. That massive gap through a huge boulder. I've ticked it off 3 times. I've lived to tell the tale. You lost a few freckles.
Yeah. I donated a few freckles coming in there. It was pretty spicy coming in the wet, but it's something that you don't think about when you're racing. It's just a line. And afterwards you realize my handlebars are 765 millimeters.
What is it a meter wide?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So you might have this much space either side if stuff goes wrong.
It's a trail of 2 halves, isn't it? Really burly at the top.
Yeah.
Especially for here. There's lots of stuff that is maybe out of character. Lots of big features, big rocks. And then you emerge onto this really fast, really pumpy, flowy bit, just saps your energy. By the time we gave it a good dig 2 days ago, and it felt like you were almost going in reverse by the time you got to the bottom of it.
And it's almost half the trail. So this big technical top section with the rock slabs, with the big rocky corners, a lot of people are paying attention to those, looking for lines carrying speed, which is true, but that massive pedal at the bottom is a huge part of it. You might have some small time gaps to be made in the top section, but the bottom section is where it's really going to count. You've got to hit those corners perfect. You're going to be cross-eyed, you're going to be tired, but you've got to step up and send it all the way home because that's where the time is to be made.
Penultimate stage, stage 5, Cuddles, 1.6 kilometers in length, drop of 180 meters, brand new. I think it was finished last Thursday. How is it holding up out there?
Yeah, it's not.
Right, okay.
Unfortunately, Cuddles, we definitely needed a few Cuddles after yesterday, but it copped it big time. The rain and that many riders coming down it really left it in a pretty bad way. So that's going to be the biggest factor of that stage. There's massive ruts, there's big slushy sections coming into rock rolls, and there's a couple of key sections that if you can get up onto the rock roll, carry good speed, it really feeds it to you into the next couple of jumps and the next straightaway. If you miss it, it's a couple of low lines where you're coming in and out of the bog. So there's some key parts of that brand new stage. That one's going to be determined on just how it recovers, how it holds up. The amateurs are out there racing, so it's going to deteriorate a little bit more. It's going to be very curious to see how that stage survives.
Stage 6 then finally, Kumagutsa, 2019's Trail of the Year, 4.1 kilometers in length. It's a big one for around here, drop of 398 meters. I mean, just a magic bit of trail. It's basically if you ask the mountain biker to list every style of trail they've ever ridden, it's basically that from top to bottom, isn't it?
From top to bottom. It's got jumps, it's got flow, it's got pedally, it's got gnar, it's got big high lines and rocky slabs. So you can just go from rock to into the next section. I think a big factor of this stage is not only the length of it, but at the end of a big day. Now that's at the furthest possible point from the pit, so it's about an hour and 15, 20 minute climb to get there, and that'll be at the 5.5, 6 hour mark of the day. It's going to be pretty brutal, and to drop in, it gets very niggly through the middle. So the top's not too bad. You've got to survive the top, but in the middle, there's a lot of line choice. There's a lot of different sections to navigate your way through. And then the big fresh section through the landslide at the bottom is just diabolical. I wish I could be positive about it, but there's ruts that go to your axle, and I saw people yesterday come into them full tilt and all full of confidence, and then they had a fistful of mud and a face full of Derby's finest. So that's good. If that doesn't dry out, that'll really determine the race, because it could be a lucky dip. It's all about line choice. You pick the wrong rut and your race can be over. You get the right rut and you can carry on through and power up the next little climb all the way to the finish. So it's a proper standard brutal way to finish our enduro race.
Josh, last weekend in Medina Bike Park, we saw the real gravity experts, a lot of downhillers to the fore. Even off the basis of yesterday's practice session, when we saw a lot of people not complete all 6 stages just because of just attrition. It was like Predator up there.
It was brutal, brutal.
Do you think that we're going to see the established enduro big names come back into their own this weekend?
I think so. I think the speed will definitely lend itself towards those downhill guys, but the trails here, they feed it to you a little bit more. They're not easier, but they're smoother and they're faster. They carry a higher average speed. So when you can come down and carry that good speed the whole way, and then throw in these longer pedals. So they're not the 7 to 15 second sprints that a downhill is used to. These are going to be closer to 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes of race pace pedaling, and then pedal again. So of the 4 or 5 minute stage, you're going to be pedaling quite a lot and trying to navigate all these sections and then back it up. So now we don't have the luxury of a shuttle. We've got to pedal back to the top of the hill. It is a long pedal, it is zapping, it is going to be a big day on the bike, so it's a lot closer to the roots of enduro. So I think an enduro specialist will come out on top, and I think some of the downhillers just might suffer a little bit with that enduro specific format.
Well, there you go. You've done very well to recover your famous positivity after yesterday. I saw you were a broken man.
I was broken, I apologise. I was definitely not in a good space. So here we are, race
You're being polite there. You're being very polite. But yeah, just a quick note as well. If you are thinking of visiting the Blue Derby Trail Network, brand new trail opened up, Hazy Days, in honour of Jeffrey Hayes, who was such a founding figure in this community of mountain bikers, and really somebody who was so keenly involved in making this place special. Well worth checking out as well. Josh, we're going to let you go and finish washing your clothes and getting ready for tomorrow, whatever you've got to do. But don't forget, you can keep up to date with all the action from the UCI Mountain Bike Enduro World Cup right here from Derby in Tasmania on this channel and on all our social media channels. As we get ready to go racing for round 2, we will see you there.
This may be the worst conditions we've ever raced. You are dreaming!